go ahead and get started. What is nutrition? My definition of nutrition is using dietary modifications and nutritional supplements to prevent and treat diseases. Okay, what are those diseases? Obesity, hypertension, high cholesterol. And then if you have those, the more things can trigger from that. So what we want to do is to keep our bodies in a safe, healthy place. And how do you do that? Medical doctors are not taught nutrition. They might get about 10% when they're in their studies. They are taught to treat a symptom, what I like to call a pill to an ill. I'm a whole health practitioner, so I treat the body as a whole. So we look at everything that goes into the body and what you're getting out of your body. So you look at your brain, and then you look at your stomach. It's your second brain. Everything goes into your mouth, goes into the rest of your body, right? So you need to start thinking about what goes into your mouth and how it's going to affect your body. Okay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, who can benefit from this? Everyone benefits from being healthy. Everyone benefits from exercise and putting good things in your body. What you put into your body has a profound effect on what you get out of your body. Okay, so you've got fewer prescriptions, less trips to the doctors, your insurance premiums come down, less surgery. What are your advantages? You feel great, you look great, your self-esteem is better, your energy levels are better, maybe you have better teammanship, you work better with others, you're not isolated, you feel more confident in your workplace and your family, different things just change, So we want to work on those. 70% of our population is classed as obese and rising. If I showed you the stats for Bay County alone, it is staggering. We have 1,200 deaths last year just with coronary disease, heart attacks. And most of those are under the age of 65. And that's between 40 and 65. It's bad. So what do you do? How do you look at that? Well, you start looking at what you're putting into your body. Okay? Diet and lifestyle also impact your brain health. Your stomach is your second brain. So what you put in your stomach is going to send a signal to the brain. How is your brain going to respond? So the food that you're eating, is it going to be healthy for you? Is it going to feed your brain? Are you going to be able to mentally focus? Are you going to retain your information? Think about your children and what you feed them. You feed them sugary snacks, they're not going to retain the information that they learn at school. They're going to become lethargic or get on the sugar high, and they're going to crash. And, how did you do in school today? You can't expect your children to make good grades if you're not feeding them correctly and their brain's not functioning correctly. Okay? So we want to talk about our digestive system and how all of that works. So if you start in your mouth, we're going to see if we can start on a PowerPoint on our basic rules of nutrition. Eating slowly, chewing well. I'm 47 years old, so I had health and home ec and things like that when I was in high school or junior high school. I don't know if any of you did or if you remember. But chewing your food required like 30 chews, right? Think about the perimeter of your mouth and how much space is there. When you take a big old bite and you start to chew it, you just really kind of walling it around, right? So if you swallow that food and you don't chew it correctly, what does it do? It gets in the esophagus, it gets stuck. Everything is contracting, trying to push that into the stomach. Then all of a sudden it lands in the stomach and it throws your digestive enzymes off. So what happens then? GERD, acid reflux, indigestion, things like that. So if you have any of these symptoms, slow down and chew your food. Okay? Just a good bite, move it around in your mouth, swallow it, let it get in the stomach, let the digestive enzymes work. Let it flow in and out of the body wherever it needs to go. You can relieve those 3 symptoms right there just by chewing alone. Eat your breakfast. You should eat like a king or queen at breakfast, a prince or princess at lunch, and a poor girl or poor man at dinner. Your dinner should be your lightest meal. Okay? You're not going to burn those calories off. By the time we are done, and most of us in here are exercise or into fitness and we're active, when we sit down, we are done. So our food needs to fuel us and repair and replenish what we've worn down or taken out of our bodies through the day. But we don't want that to be pizzas and sugars and different type of carbohydrates and fatty foods that are not good for our body. We need to give ourselves good nutritious things, but they need to be light on our tummy. When we go to bed, we don't need food in our tummies because we're not interested in digestion when we sleep. we're interested in repairing and rebuilding what we've worn down or hurt or injured while we're asleep. That's why we rest, so our body can repair and regrow. So if you've got food in your stomach, it's going to focus on that. And what does that do? That's going to increase your blood pressure. So you're going to have a restless night. And you're going to wake up in the morning, you're not going to feel well, you're going to feel lethargic, and your body's not going to be able to function optimally as it should. Okay? So breakfast being your largest meal. Okay? Don't skip meals. I have a list here of daily guidelines that I like to follow. Okay? The first, let's see, where are we here? Number 5, avoid fasting more than 12 hours between dinner and breakfast. When you are asleep, you are dehydrating because you're not drinking water while you're asleep, right? And you're not eating while you're asleep, right? Unless you get up in the middle of the night, and that's a no-no. Okay? So your body needs to repair and rest. So when you wake up, the first thing you need is a big glass of water. And then within an hour of rising, you need to give your body food. Hasn't had any. So some of you that are skipping and you're using this big old cup of sugary coffee to get you going through the day, that's a diuretic. It's a little bit of an appetite suppressant, and then the sugar is going to get you high. But you got sugar, and then you got coffee right there. That throws your adrenals off. And what happens then, we got low blood sugar, and then we're going to start running around trying to find something to eat. And what we go to grab may not always be the healthiest or the best things we could put in our bodies. So what are you doing? You're consuming more calories, but the wrong kind. And it's not going to sustain us over the next little bit of time that we have to get us through the next meal, which would be an afternoon snack or our dinner. So 3 meals a day and a snack, mid-morning, mid-afternoon, depending on what your schedule is like, your workloads or your demands, you need to time that. You also need to time when your last meal is of the day. Your food should be cut off a minimum of 2 hours before bed, and I like to say 3 hours. That gives your gut plenty of time to dump everything that's in it. Your stomach can only release 1/8 of what is in it every 3 minutes. So if you got a big old heavy meal, it's going to be there a while. Okay? Now you want your food to be there for a while because it's going to sustain you and going to keep you full, but not at bedtime. Okay? And your cooking methods matter, how you cook your food. We're going to go over that. I'm going to show you some things that are pretty staggering. If you have young kids, this is real important that you stop feeding these foods to your children. Okay? Because what you put in your body today is going to show up on you 10 years from now. You can say, I'm exercising and I look great and I got all of this and that, but later on, your body's going to beat you. Okay? I work with several patients who used to run triathlons, exercise, and all of a sudden they're falling down with heart attacks and strokes because the cholesterol and the foods that they were eating because I exercised today, therefore I can have what I want. I didn't exercise today, so I'm going to have the grilled chicken. I exercised today, so I'm going to opt for the fried chicken salad. Doesn't work like that, folks. Over time, your body, your arteries, your veins, your valves are going to get clogged up just like that drain in your sink or that drain in the shower. And you get all that hair in there, and all of a sudden it starts gurgling back up. You got to get it out of there. And sometimes that's going to take some surgery, and we want to eliminate that, and that's what I'm going to try to teach you about today. And then avoiding junk food. Okay, so let's go to the next one. We just went through eating slowly, chewing well, stimulation of secretion of saliva, what it does for your teeth. It has antibacterial elements, okay, which are very good for you. And then the prevention of heartburn, acid reflux, and any inflammation. And inflammation in our joints, okay, not good at all. And we're getting this from our food. Here's our eating breakfast. Replenish. When you eat your breakfast, you reduce your total daily energy food intake, okay? So your breakfast actually can sustain you if you have a good, healthy, protein, high-fiber breakfast, can sustain you up until about 12 or 1 o'clock without your blood sugars being elevated or dropping, okay, depending on what you eat. So if you know that day that you've got a meeting and you're not going to be able to have anything to eat until 12 or 1 and your breakfast is at 8, you better make sure that breakfast is good and it's going to last you a very long time. And that could be maybe some oatmeal with some egg whites, or maybe you saute an egg, a boiled egg, something like that. You want to pair your fibers with your proteins so that they stay balanced. If you're just eating a bowl of oatmeal with some dry fruit and you're putting some brown sugar in there or whatever you got on there and you're eating that, that is straight carbohydrates. That's going to last about 2 hours in your gut. It's going to cause your blood sugar to drop. What are you going to do? You're going to start shaking. You're going to grab something. It's probably going to be the wrong thing. So if you pair your proteins and your carbohydrates together, that will sustain you longer so that you can go a little bit longer throughout the day without food. but still hydrating in between. All right, and it improves your insulin sensitivity. Cooking methods matter. Various compounds are formed during harsh cooking and processing. Okay, anytime that you open up cholesterol, you open up oils and you heat it up, it starts expanding, therefore making more cholesterol. It oxidizes, which is not good. So frying your food is a no. And we call this the advanced glycation end product, or AGE, and that's a real good way to remember aging, because that's exactly what it does. It ages your body. You're taking a piece of food that is a natural form, that is full of amino acids that your body needs, which also has collagen in it, which is good for tightening the skin, what we get from protein as well. And then you've got water, which is good for hydration when you're eating it, because it's full of liquid. You want the nice juices flowing, but you overcooked it when you fried it and you soaked it in all that fat, so you have nothing. You cooked all the nutrients out of it, you fried it, you soaked it in oil, and then you ate it. So frying is a no. I don't care how you're doing it, don't do it. You can saute it, you can cook it in coconut oil, avocado oils, grape oils, things like that, extra virgin olive oils. You can use those, but you don't want to totally soak your food in it. You want just enough to cook it on one side and flip it for the other side. And those are your good fats, by the way, and you can't get fat on those. The only thing that you want to do is make sure you don't get too much, because you can raise your HDLs, which are your hypolipid proteins, your good proteins, or your good cholesterols. Okay? Reduction of sugar, glucose, fructose, and lactose. Those are simple sugars, and as soon as they hit your stomach, it goes right into your bloodstream as sugar. So what sugars do you have? You don't use refined. We're not using glucose. We're not using fructose, lactose, dextrose, no corn syrups. I always recommend sucralose, not sucrose, sucralose, because once it is non-nutritive sweetener, it is non-toxic to your body, and once it hits your system, it has to be broken down. So it's not going to convert to sugar and cause you to go into a hypodyslemia, okay? And then back into a hyper. Hyper is low, hypo is high, okay? So watching your sugars when you're cooking your foods as well, and converting those really quickly. So you want everything to break down really slow so it's sustained and stays in your body longer, and it needs to be useful. So my theory is, if it doesn't have a mommy and it doesn't grow from the ground, or it doesn't exist in nature, it does not belong in your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. It's foreign to it. If it's bagged, boxed, or coming from a window or down the middle aisles and not the perimeters of the grocery store, it is a no. Okay? It wreaks havoc on your body, and what do we get in return? Obesity, hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes. Okay? And none of us are standing here going, hey, I want some of that. You know, because once you get it, you wish you didn't have it. Okay? Choose boiling, poaching, and stewing over frying, broiling, and roasting. It may decrease your aging process by 50%. When you roast your food, think about it. How long is it sitting in that oven? Are you roasting it? And what temperature are you cooking it at? And then how long do you have to chew it to break it down to get it into your stomach? Long time. So the foods that you have to cook for that long time of a time are probably not very good for you. Okay? And then, boiling, you're making sure that you're cooking it to temperature. You're also still in water, or if you're using low sodium chicken broth or low sodium beef broth, vegetable broth for flavoring or cooking your foods in, that's always a good way to get water and seasonings, and also to cook it in the boiling process. Okay? This is the aging content of a 3-ounce piece of chicken. Look at how many kilounits you get in oven fried, what you get in deep fried, broiled, roasted, or boiled. Now, we don't have grilling on here, so you want to make sure when you're grilling that you're in your medium well temperature, but you still want it pink in the middle, unless it's chicken, and you want to make sure that you still have all those juices, because remember, if you're overcooking your food, you're doing medium well or well done, there's no nutritional value left. You've cooked it all out. There's nothing there. The more on the raw end that you can get, the more value your food is going to be to you. Okay? Okay? Hot dog. That's a traditional thing for kids. That's an easy, fast thing to give them. Broiled, boiled, hamburger from McDonald's, fried hamburger, and that would be if you patted out just some 80-20 beef and stuck it in the skillet, and that's called frying. Look at that. And then a pizza with thin crust. Now, a typical diet is about 16,000. You get a hot dog, what's your diet for the rest of the day? If you're eating like that. Makes sense? not good.